Okay, so question 9, the last question, is asking us to compose a melody for a flute or a violin using the given opening, and it's asked us to indicate a tempo and any performance directions, including any that might be necessary for the instrument you have chosen. So I suppose this is quite a nice question in that it's asking us to be a little bit creative, not necessarily the most creative thing, because we have to use this opening that we've been given. We can't just start writing a whole new piece, but it's asking us to kind of continue this melody on in a similar style as if we were the composer and we were trying to finish it off. And it's asking us if we know a little bit about how these instruments work. So if we write the instrument for the flute, we probably have to think about writing it in a way that will work well for the flute. So one thing that we need to think about very carefully is the pitch of the notes being used. So the lowest note on a flute is middle C. It can't play any note lower than that, so we would be sort of making a mistake essentially if we wrote a note lower than that. If we're writing with a violin, we can go a little bit lower because a violin goes down to the G below middle C, and so that's something very important to think about. So if we wanted to do this, we could choose either one, but I'm going to choose violin because I know a little bit more about the violin than I do about the flute, and we're going to continue this melody on. So the important thing to do is not just to start writing a whole new piece. You've got to use this opening elements from the melody and elements from the rhythm to try and continue this thing on. So what I might do is I might actually start my continuation, my new bit of melody, in a similar way. We'll use this nice dotted rhythm that we had in the opening, but then I'll subtly make a few changes that make it a bit different. So I'll keep with this rhythm, but I think instead of going up to a D here, I'm going to just carry on up the scale like this. And I'm going to just keep that dotted rhythm, because this dotted rhythm is obviously an important part of the melody here. So I'm going to keep that going. And then maybe write that in here. And we kind of want to bring this, I think we want to bring this thing to a close, because you'll notice this is a bit like a question and answer. We've got this first part of the melody which goes up to a D through the scale and it ends on a D. So this kind of ends on the dominant, so this is kind of unfinished. So probably what we want to do now is answer that first two bars that ends on the dominant and on what might be an imperfect cadence if we had harmony, and we want to maybe answer that with a phrase that closes that first phrase off. So something like this, and we'll use that dotted rhythm again. And this is kind of, I'd say, relatively complete as a unit. So the first 4 bars we've now completed, and it I think it's quite a good continuation because it makes use of lots of the rhythmic ideas from the opening, and it answers this first phrase which finishes on the dominant. I've answered that with something that ends on the tonic, and I think basically we want to just do that again. The thing has to be 8 bars long. It says up here we need to write 8 bars worth of melody. So maybe let's do something a bit different here. Now what I'm thinking of doing, because I'm writing this melody for violin, I want to kind of make use of something special that the violin can do. So there's certain things the flute can do which are very specific to the flute, and there's certain things that the violin can do which are specific to the violin. And one thing the violin can do is, because it's a string instrument, the strings on the instrument can be plucked instead of bowed. And I think it would be nice for these next 2 bars to just, do something a bit different and have some pizzicato notes. So I'm going to keep the dotted thing going and maybe put the dotted rhythm in here. And what's also nice to do, something that shows you've sort of looked at how melodies work, and you're relatively fluid with writing melodies, is to do something like a sequence. So here I've got a certain figure. I've decided to start this next because I finished that here on the tonic. I'm going to just begin my next little phrase on the dominant. And so say this was a D, bum. I'm going to go bum, 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 and then move that down by a step and do what we call a melodic sequence, which means we're going to get the same rhythm essentially, but just moving that rhythm down a step. So bum, 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 ba bum, 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 ba bum, bum, bum. This is very simple, but it makes use of the dotted rhythm, so we can still see how it's related. Bum, bum, ba bum, bum, bum. So that's my next little 2-bar pattern. And then I think we'll switch back to the bow again, and as we saw earlier on in this paper, we can use this term arco to mean go back and use the bow. So this has gone down from the dominant, going down bum 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 ba bum 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 ba bum 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 bum. So we might, the natural progression is for this to come from a D to a C to a B. So let's just start that. But we're actually going to pick up that opening idea again. I'm just going to slightly change it. Bum bum bum. So keep the dotted rhythm. Bum 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 ba bum 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 bum. Just keep the rhythm the same. Bum bum bum. Oops, we'll put a dot there. Bum. Shorter semiquaver. Bum 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 bum. Go up to the dominant. So obviously you can't sing in the exam, but and you can see how I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build this thing so it's a nice shape and it's got a nice direction. Bum bum bum. Yum. Bum. Oops. Bum bum ba bum bum. There we go. What a masterpiece. Now the final thing for me to do is just to put in some kind of tempo marking. Now this melody I think probably should go at a moderate pace. It's not too fast, it's not too slow, it's just nicely written. And also something to think about as well when we're writing for the violin is, do we want all of these notes to be separate bows, or do we want them to have a sort of different type of phrasing or slurring to them? So maybe just as an experiment, we might show that we know about the violin by slurring a few of these semiquavers. So we might just draw this under here and that under there, and just give semiquavers, because we want these some of these notes, particularly the dotted notes, I think we want those to be relatively separate because we're making a feature of that nice dotted rhythm. But where we have these semiquavers, I think it would be nice to slur those. We could put some other things in as well. We could say maybe just start mezzo forte and then have a little crescendo through here. I mean, there's, you're totally free to kind of be quite creative. Maybe when we go to the pizzicato, we'll go quiet. We'll get the player to go really quiet, and then we'll finish the thing off with a nice loud forte marking. So I think I've managed to answer this question reasonably well, in that I've developed this melody, taking some ideas from the opening little extract, and developed that to make it 8 bars worth of quite interesting melody that has a certain shape and a direction to it. So both of these these phrases, the first phrase for the first 4 bars and the second phrase for the second 4 bars, have a kind of shape to them, which lead us on a journey and tell a bit of a story. And that's what we're looking for a really good melody to do.